All right, so hello, my name is Lydell Hills. I'm the founder and program director of Truth to Power. Today, I'll be leading the session Mindfulness with Kids, techniques for parents and educators to practice with their children. And so, without much further ado, let's jump into this screen share. Boom. All right, so do this full screen, just as full as possible. All right, here we go. There we go. All right. So, boom, Mindfulness with Kids. Again, my name is Lydell Hills, founder of Truth to Power Youth Development Program. And we'll get a little bit more into that in some of the next slides. And so, today, what we're going to go over first, we're going to start with the mindfulness meditation because, I like to say experience is the best teacher. And so if we're going to talk to our kids about mindfulness and talk about mindfulness meditations, then we really need to practice it so that you have your own base of experience, be able to talk about that with the kids that you're working with or with your own kids. My experience facilitating meditations for youth, I'm going to get into that for about 5 minutes after the meditation, and just talk about what I've been doing in the schools and how I've been involved in providing meditations for kids. What is mindfulness? We're going to get into that for about 5 to 10 minutes and just really parse out what does this really mean? So you can really have a fuller definition of what mindfulness is if you're going to be having these conversations with your kids and trying to integrate this into your lifestyles. For 5 minutes, we're going to talk about why do kids struggle with this. So obviously, if you're here for this kind of session, it's probably because you want to be able to work with kids and have been having trouble integrating these kind of techniques already, or you just think that your child could benefit from being a little bit more mindful. And we'll talk about why there are certain challenges in children being able to be mindful and be present with themselves. And next 15 minutes after that, we'll talk about techniques that I can practice, meaning that you can practice with your kid. So I have a few different techniques that we'll talk about, and you'll be able to apply these directly in different scenarios. So we'll have a few different places where you can apply these. And then the last one, encourage liberation. Not going to give any spoilers on that. It's just it is what it is. And you'll understand it once we get to that section. I don't want to spoil anything. So boom, as long as we all understand that, let's get into the mindfulness meditation. All right. So you can either choose to focus on me, or you could choose to pay attention to this scenic candle that I placed here. Yeah, I'll just be in the corner over here. So I'm gonna set a timer, and we're gonna do a meditation for about, say, 15 minutes. I'm gonna really try to get in this. I'll raise the music up a little bit too. Meditation sounds courtesy of Spotify. And so before each meditation, I like to start off with an incense, just so that, as it's another sensory tool, helps us be able to ground ourselves by focusing, using our different senses to focus on, in this case, smell. You can listen to sounds. I also have the slight speakers. There's a few different things that helps me build and focus my attention inward, even though there's a lot of different things. People might have different practices and how they like to ground themselves. And these are just some tools that I use that help me along my practice. And also just incense just smells nice. So, it's a good vibe. So it's a good vibe. All right. So getting into a comfortable seated position. want to sit with, if you're sitting in a chair, you want to sit not leaning against the chair so that your like back is completely leaning against it. You want your back to be kind of straight as if it were the spinal cord is stacked upon itself. So it's completely straight. You're supporting yourself and allowing the weight to drop down into your butt, keeping it straight stacked up. If you're sitting down like I am on the floor, then I do crisscross applesauce, whatever's going to make your legs feel comfortable while sitting here. And make sure that, like, again, like the back being straight and self-supported is the most important thing here. And just relax into whatever posture that you end up choosing to make sure that you find your center and your balance. Some people recommend go left and right just to find what the right center place is for you. And again, forward and backward, just in all these directions, make sure that you're truly at your center. And so with our postures in place, I'm going to start taking a deep breath in through the nose, breathing out slowly through the mouth. Tune into the sound of the bell. Allowing the mind to wind down. Assimilating into your environment. And on that final bell, again, taking another deep breath in through the nose and breathing out slowly through the mouth. Again, breathing in deeply through the nose, breathing out slowly, allowing your body to relax. In the first moments of this meditation, taking time to notice the sounds that are around you. Perhaps you hear the music. Maybe you hear birds chirping outside. You can hear the sound of my voice. You might hear your breathing. And if you're really tuning in, you might hear the sound of your own heartbeat. Just take a moment and allow all those sounds to wash over you, not becoming too attached to any one sound. If you find yourself getting stuck or attached to a certain sound, some things that help, just give that sound a label and then let it go. Wind, letting it go. Birds, letting it go. Rain, letting it go. Taking another deep breath in. Breathing out slowly. And on this next inhale, really bring your attention to the smells in the room. Breathing out slowly. Just allowing that smell to fill up your body. And then letting it go. Taking a few moments for yourself. I'm going to briefly allow the mind to wander. So for 30 seconds, just letting the mind do what it will. Allow the mind to do what it wants. Not controlling it. Taking a deep breath in. Reining in the mind. Breathing out slowly. So we're going to practice the 4 corner breaths. So first, we're going to breathe in for 4. Hold for 4, allowing the stomach and chest to fill up with air. Breathing out for 4 and holding again for 4 before breathing in again. So I'll hold the count. Breathing in, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So on your own, we're going to do this for another 2 breaths. And one more time, all together. Okay. Now bringing your attention to your body, being fully present in your body, not in your mind. If your mind has gotten distracted, just bringing it back in gently, not judging yourself for being distracted or losing focus, being kind, considerate to the mind, and gently leading it back into a place of mindfulness. Bring attention to our bodies. First, we're going to put our hands out in front of ourselves. and feeling your hands from the inside. Try to truly feel, what does your skin feel like from the inside? Allow the sensations to move from inward, outward. So again, focusing on your hands. Perhaps you're feeling the bones in your hand, feeling the muscles in your hand. You're not doing anything to change them, just being aware. You may feel a warm sensation. You may feel a slight warm energy around your skin as you focus in this way. Again, keeping the attention within your body, allowing that to travel, feeling your arms, feeling your elbow, feeling your shoulders. And again, just paying attention to what it feels like, not changing, not judging yourself for how you feel, but truly paying attention to the state of your body, which reflects the state of your subconscious mind. Bringing your attention to the heart in your chest. Feeling it pulse with blood. Feeling your heartbeat. Feeling your rib cage inside of your chest. Allow your hands to drop. Feeling your legs. Is there any tension? Feeling your knees. Feeling your feet. Now feeling the entire body in this way from the inside out. So often we're outside of our bodies. So really bringing this attention inward and truly sitting within ourselves. As you breathe in, imagine that warm energy around your body expanding. And as you breathe out, feel it all coming back inward towards your heart. So again, breathing in through the nose, filling up. And you can imitate me here with my arms if it helps you. And bring, again, as you breathe out, bring your energy inward. Expanding, breathing in. Exhaling, compressing. Expanding, breathing in. And bringing it back in. Letting all the stress and tension leave your body on the exhale. Breathing in deep once again. And in these last few minutes, truly sitting with ourselves. Feeling the inside of your body, asking yourself, how often do you truly get to be here, now, inside of your body, experiencing this moment? Just being fully aware of your surroundings, bringing your attention back outward, feeling yourself in the room. Truly be present. What does it feel like to be in the room that you are in? Feeling yourself as the room and yourself within it. And listening to the sound of the bell as we end this meditation. And if your eyes are still closed, taking a moment, rubbing your palms together, feeling the heat building in your palms, and bringing it up to your eyelids. Remembering to smile, bringing happiness into your life. And as you let go of your eyelids, opening your eyes, stretching out, and not leaving the state of being present, of being mindful, but allowing this state of awareness that you've been able to build over these last 15 minutes, allowing that to continue throughout your day. Take a moment to truly feel what this feeling feels like so that you can always know how to return to center. Thank you. And thank yourself for giving yourself the time to meditate, to be mindful, to be attentive to yourself. Truly thank yourself. And again, remember, you should be smiling right now. I looked at myself and I was like, just chilling. So, all right. So, as we get into this next piece, basically, again, getting into my background, my experience working with youth, as I've basically have been, I started in 2018, really coming up with the ideas for Truth to Power. Basically, following my graduation from Goucher College, I'm out here in Baltimore, Maryland right now. I was preparing for my AmeriCorps year with the Baltimore Community Mediation Center. As I was preparing for that year, I was reflecting on my life experiences, what I have to offer the world, like literally just looking at my resume and like, what have I done with my life? What do I want to do? Who am I? And um, and I was building my meditation practice at the time, and I had been building it for about 4 years at that point. But upon that graduation, like I was really just taking the time to be reflective. I was away from a lot of people, out of school, and was able to just truly be able to spend more time with myself. Essentially, I had tried this transcendental meditation, which was about like aligning myself with like essentially like the momentum of the universe, so to speak, and like where I lie within that. And um, I saw myself meditating and sharing these tools with kids in the Baltimore City area. Like I saw that, um, and the work that I've been able to do at the two schools I've been at, I've seen myself be able to do the kind of work that I saw myself doing. And so truly taking that vision and being able to continue with it. Hey Dalen, how you doing? So we're recording live right now, just so you know. So if you want your face to be in the stream or not, this is going to be like shared out. So um, just so you know. But right now we just did the meditation, and now I'm getting a little bit more into my background of how I started working with kids and some of the tools that have been helpful like that. And so basically, I was at the point talking about preparing for my year with Baltimore Community Mediation Center. um, Doing that AmeriCorps year, I was I was exposed to Youth as Resources, which is this grant writing program in Baltimore City for youth under 24 years of age, recently just aged out. And so basically, they help youth who have ideas about social change be able to write their grant ideas and learn about grant writing so that they can start their own programs and things of this nature. And so um, once we got the initial funds to start this program, got connected to Gordon Falls Elementary, which is a school out in West Baltimore in 21216. And they actually already had like a daily mindfulness practice at their school. And so that was something that stood out to me as like making it a appropriate partnership and place to really like um, be able to practice these skills in a place where they're already receptive to it and be able to like deliver this for the kids. And so we started at Gwen Falls Elementary. Our contacts at Youth as Resources connected us to B City Coalition, which is another local funder in the 21217 area. And so again, service in West Baltimore, their focus is on youth trauma initiatives in Baltimore City, specifically in the 17 area code. And so those kind of meshed together in a way where I was already working in that general area and was working with that elementary school and was building these trauma responsive practices and stress management skills. And so basically the following year after that, or this year right now that we're currently in, it's the second year of it, we got contracted through the Baltimore City Health Department to facilitate wraparound services at Frederick Douglass High School. And so the wraparound services included like safe dates, safe streets, facilitations in the classrooms, violence interruption, and providing mediations for any kind of conflicts, and after school programming so that kids could have like an alternative to all the data is showing how most of the violence in our city that's happening to youth is happening like after school hours, like particularly 6 to 9, they say, but like any kind of after school hours is like a high violence time for a lot of youth. And so after school programming was already part of our specialty of what we was doing. We partnered with the mediation center to be able to provide the full service at the Frederick Douglass High School. And now we're here during Corona time, and operations at Douglass are now online, still providing these kind of services to students, but had the opportunity to take a step back and really be able to provide it to a larger audience of people. And so, yeah, that's my experience working with youth been able to work at Gwen Falls Elementary and Frederick Douglass High School. Done a middle school program, summer program through the Living Classrooms again out here in Baltimore City. So um, yeah, that's my experience working with the kids. Uh, and now with that kind of background said, we're gonna get into the what is mindfulness. Hey Lisa, how you doing? Um, just so you know,
It's
we're
Sam Bill.
oh, it's Sam. I saw Lisa Jones on there, so
Sure.
okay,
Yeah.
all right. So basically now we're gonna get into like what is mindfulness. So over here, mindfulness, we got a few different slides present. We move us over so that people can see that too. All right. So, boom. Basically, what is mindfulness? It's being present. It's being in this moment. So, like focusing your awareness on this present moment. Oftentimes, people can be caught up in the past, or they're thinking about the future, and like we're not here. We're not truly here. Like myself, so like when it comes up for me is either like I could be thinking about something that I didn't say right yesterday, or make dang, I wish I had known this kind of thing at that point so that I could have done this better. But you know, that's kind of defeatist mindset because it's going to there's not much we could do to change the past. Like unless someone figured out the whole time machine thing. And then as far as the future goes, people being anxious about the future, and so not being here in this present moment because they're worried about something that's going to happen. So like you may have a test, you may have be worried about getting a job. Like let's bring it into this real present moment right now, right? It's like there might be a lot of people who are anxious about uh, what am I going to do in 6 months? What's going to happen with this coronavirus? And really, we don't know. Like this is like such a kind of perfect moment to describe it because like we really just don't know a lot of things about what's going to happen with the future. And like some people might be depressed or sad about what they didn't get to do already, but mindfulness shows us it's like being present here right now, being able to focus in this moment. This is the only real moment. And so what we want to be able to do is just like focus in this present moment, because anything else besides those things is just going to distract us. It's going to hurt our energies. It's going to send us into a spiral and make us either depressed or anxious. So that's like why we use mindfulness. Um, and these bottom two is acceptance of one's feelings, thoughts, and emotions. So again, being present, not just with like, so part of being present in this moment is like being able to check in with yourself with like how you're feeling in that moment, having the emotional awareness to be able to describe how you're feeling. So like, we're gonna get a little bit more into that later on in this. So I'm gonna save that for later. But the last piece, ask yourself, am I in my head or am I in my body? And so with these examples here, it's like, are you in your head? Are you allowing yourself to be distracted? All these images are referring to this concept in meditation and different mindfulness practices called the monkey mind. And so the monkey mind, it likes to distract us, be sitting there meditating, and then monkey mind says, oh hey Lydell, you gotta get ready for tomorrow. You gotta make this agenda, you gotta make this presentation slides, you gotta do this. Oh, you didn't eat yet, Lydell. And monkey mind is talking a lot. I'm like, monkey mind, chill out. And bringing monkey mind to the present moment to be able to say like what's happening right now in my body. So you know, they say that like the body is representation of our subconscious mind. And so by being able to check in with our body, we are aware of like our true emotional and mental states. And through that, through our breath, we're able to then rewire and reprogram how we're feeling. So it's like that pathway to being able to access that subconscious part of ourselves. So if the body is reacting subconsciously to how we're really feeling, then if we're checking in with our body and breathing and changing our breathing rhythm. So if you realize you're anxious and you're breathing in quickly, checking in with your body, realizing that, and then changing how you're breathing will directly change like how you're feeling. And we've seen that when like we're working with kids and it's like a kid is upset, he's like just got in a fight and he's like breathing really quickly and he's still upset, right? If you could sit this kid down and be like, you just take some deep breaths in. I don't know how many people can be angry while having like really good deep, like actually taking in deep breaths, you know, like that changes how like you're actually feeling, makes you think more rationally. You're getting more air up into the brain and allowing yourself to open up all these different functions. So um, again, monkey mind. Um, so we got this monkey. He says, you ask monkey mind, hello, watch breath. Monkey mind says, oh yeah, good idea. So you can, again, that's that mindfulness. It's like being able to interact with that kind of conscious mind that's running, going all over the place. Over time, as you build this practice, you're gonna be able to like bring yourself inward more. So catching yourself and being like, oh, I see, I got on that train of thought and it took me over here. I wanted to be here. Monkey mind took me there. So I was like, saw monkey mind trying to lead me onto the train, and I said, hey, hold on, monkey mind. I wanna watch my breath right now. Monkey mind will follow you. And so this is about becoming like the master of your mind rather than your mind mastering and controlling you. And so we're going to get a little bit more into that as well in these later slides. So why do kids struggle with this? Why do they struggle with being mindful? So this is a Netflix show, Raising Dion. I really love this show. I hope they get more seasons out soon. But I don't know if it's like that kind of show. It's kind of over. But basically, Dion, he's this young African American child who, oh, that's also like change for like the TV shows and like stuff that's coming out. He's a young black kid with powers, and um, I really recommend watching it. One, if you're interested more in the whole mindfulness thing, I think they like kind of play with it in an interesting way. Basically, his power is he's telekinesis. He can move things around. So like you see over here, there are these Fruit Loops. They're kind of floating in the air. This is when he discovered his power. This is him over here trying to harness his power. And so um, we're gonna talk. I want to come back to this slide and I'm gonna point out something, but obviously I don't want to give away everything from the jump, you know, because there's a process to this. So, boom, Netflix Raising Dion. So, children need help building their focus and attention. Why do kids struggle with this? It's because they need that help building their focus and attention. And so, we all know that kids are, you know, their prefrontal cortex is not as developed as an adult, and also parietal lobe handles attention. That's also not as developed in a child. And so over here, I forgot to provide the source, but I can provide that afterward if you're watching this on the YouTube link. Um, Childhood development experts generally say that a reasonable attention span to expect for a child is 2 to 3 minutes per year of their age. That's the period of time for which a typical child can maintain focus on a certain task. So I work with kids like 8 to 10 years old. So we generally got like 16 to 30 minutes. I'm gonna say like we really got 15 minutes. Let's be honest. And so, but looking through all these, like a 2 year old, my sister right now, she's around 2 years old. So I would say that's about right. Like you could play with a certain toy for about 4 to 6 minutes, and then she's on to the next thing. If that, if you even get 4 to 6 minutes, 4 years old, that's about preschool age. So it's like kids that are in preschool, they might be able to sit down do activity for 8 minutes, and like school, it's like one of those things that kind of helps us. It like could be a more mindful kind, like have more mindfulness integrated into our school and education system, like how Gwen Falls Elementary is practicing like the daily mindfulness thing through the intercoms. But really, like the teachers and like all the educators, like we all need to be able to integrate mindfulness more so into the way that we operate. So let me just, I'm not gonna go through this entire list here, but you know the numbers are there. I work with 8 to 10 year old kids. I'm in the elementary school, and then they're like 16 to 18 at the high school. And so at the elementary school, we're pretty much working with this platform right there that um, we have like an hour and a half to facilitate the entire program. And so when we get in there, when we started, it was we would start meditation, 15 minutes for their lunch period. They come back, we do like we talk about, we read the book and then we talk about the book. So that's a whole 30 minutes, 15 minutes reading the book, 15 minutes talking about it, and then 30 minutes creative activities. But really, it's like 20 minutes of that, and then the clean up and all that. We never really cleaned up on time, but that's not for this. That's not a story for right now. Anyway, um, we essentially, the way that our program was broken down into is 15 minutes, and for pretty much for each thing. And that was like through adaptations and trying things out and realizing that like obviously like their attention span is not going to be like right there, so you really got to guide them to each thing. And like the each last activity had to build into the next thing to make sure that also their attention tracked and it made sense for their focus. So like um if we started, if I knew we're going to be talking about like that, so one day we did the session on like what rappers do in the community. We did like a poetry session and talked about like after the death of Nipsey Hussle, like community work and stuff like that. So I knew we were going to talk about stress and trauma and like losing lives. We could lead like a grief based kind of meditation. They eat, take a break, come back, we read, well, actually like listen to a song or two of his for that particular session, but we used to read a book that's about that topic, and then we can talk about it. And so it looks like we're freezing here. Let's go back here. Okay, so again, yeah, we wanted to just make sure that all the activities track, so that did the meditation, lunch, book, and activity, they all make sense in a thematic kind of way, so that the activity will then build off of the discussion that we just had, and they make a product all out of all those things. If we just did a bunch of random things, I'm sure it wouldn't be as like structured and built up. You really got to like build with their attention so that everything feels connected, so that they're not lost along that way. Um, Last piece here I'll say on this is we had a challenge ourselves like midway through our first year, trying out Truth to Power, that students would constantly play with the pillows and beanbags throughout the session. And it's like, how do we get them to focus, right? So one, we could take away the beanbags and pillows as a punitive measure until they prove that they can focus, or we could provide toys and mindfulness tools that would enhance their focus. And just take a moment. I don't know, I want y'all to guess like what we tried. Well, yeah, I think we tried one or two.
I'm going to say you went with 2.
You gonna say two?
Yeah.
What about you, Dalen? What you think?
I'm thinking probably 2.
You thinking two? All right. So answer's not on this slide yet. We're gonna talk about it in a sec. So at first we was like, all right, hey, come on now, guys. Like, I'll try and be Mr. Nice Guy. Come on. And then boom. So for like the educators that ever feel like, Cartman in the South Park episode when he was like trying to be like, hey, come on, like kids, listen, how do I reach these kids? So it's kind of hard reaching out to them, but took a moment and we breathed. And so we actually did both of them. So the first one, like, this is not the actual picture from it, but this is like when we got relocated for apparent, like, it was a misunderstanding. Our students actually didn't mess up the room, but we were suspected to have messed up the beanbags and the pillows because our kids were known for having done that a couple of times. It just happened that this time it wasn't them. So like this is a room, we don't have any of the pillows and stuff, and you know, um, I don't really think that like the punitive measures work myself, but I would say that's the first one that happened because one is like what the school decided to do with us, but also before it even got to that point, uh and the other two program facilitators, one of them was really good at like being you know, the mean one. So I let her handle that, and I was the Mr. Nice Guy. Mr. Buddha is cool. I'm not gonna like yell at you guys, but um, we got CG over here to do that, and then on the other hand, there are toys and mindfulness tools that can be helpful. So this is not an exact picture of the actual tools that we use, but these are examples of tools that can be used. Like art, of course, is like a way to like harness that kind of energy and really redirect the mind in a way that kids really appreciate and like. They like being creative. Um, but really, like, there's been this whole movement of like mindfulness toys. You'll see in like a lot of SEL rooms, like the goo, like that these kids love, or like the kind of they're like lava lamp things, but basically just moving globs of whatever that they watch. Even the high school kids, like it's crazy. Like did it with the high school kids too. Just have the toys there. Um, Not gonna say like all the items were still there at the end of the year, but it's okay. And but the point of the matter is that they enjoyed them. They actually paid attention to them and made them stop, and it made them like really look at something and pay attention to it. And so rather than penalizing our kids for being kids, for they have a lot of energy, and it's like, how do you, rather than trying to control that, how do we use that and allow that to be in its fullest energy, and allow them to like have things that they're going to enjoy, like the mindfulness tools, right? So I'm not going to harp on that too long. um Techniques that you can practice. So have three things here. Just want to make sure you're doing good on time. So not too well, but so three things: the centering breath for you, the buzzing breath, fun for them, and then nature meditation. It's fun together. So the centering breath for you, I recommend for any parents, educators that is going crazy. I don't want it down here. All right, boom. So incorporate centering breaths throughout your day. A simple breath can be the difference between a stressful and a manageable day. So something my mom would always say is, Lord, give me strength. In a sense, that was like her centering breath, right? That's like, Lord, give me strength. She's like taking a moment, like, whoa, hold up, because if I don't stop, I'm about to smack this man. Like that's, so my mom, she had a way of like centering herself before dealing with things. And I've seen different practitioners just incorporate centering breaths. It doesn't have to be a whole meditation, and that's why it's like so helpful. It's like you just literally just have a mindful moment and just be like, before continuing, and it just gets you recentered. Don't lose yourself, especially if you about to like get mad at some kids that don't even really know what they're doing. You gotta like be able to center yourself, and we don't want to keep this cycle of trauma and stress going by. We're passing that kind of thing down to our generation of kids by being upset with them, and expressing our anger in the same ways that anger was expressed for us. So like, forgot the exact name, but in psychology, Black psychology specifically, they have a term for that where essentially our parents are passing down that same pain that they've experienced. I believe it's like the Willie Lynch curse or something of that sort. But don't quote me on that. This next piece, the buzzing breath, it allows you to be in tune with yourself by focusing on the vibrations throughout your body. It may annoy you after a while, but the kids love it. So it's this loud breath. So basically, you breathe in, you put your tongue at a kind of near the roof of your mouth, leaving some space. And everyone, we all know how to buzz. We all know how to make a zzz sound. So you breathing in, and on the exhale you and the kids they went crazy for that one. So like basically after um like once once you're buzzing, once your body's like vibrating like that, the intention is to bring your attention to your body, how the vibrations are going throughout your entire body. It helps like um, bring more pointed attention to it because there's more activity going on in those regions rather than just being still can be difficult for kids, and just being attentive to being still can be difficult for kids. So like giving them something that's fun that is also tangibly felt throughout the body. It's like if you practice that, you can feel the and you really feel that vibration throughout your chest. You feel it throughout the rest of your body is like vibrating along with it. So practicing that buzzing breath, again, you might get annoyed after a while. You're like, stop buzzing, but you know, they're gonna enjoy it. It's a helpful tool to really help them pay attention and really build that practice of paying attention to their body. These next two, make trips outside. So make trips outside special. Ask your child to collect interesting pebbles as they find stones, and ask them to consider what about the texture, shape, size of the rock they find interesting or cool. And so, really, here you want to. It's called like pebble meditation, and really, it's really just another interactive way for your kids to practice mindfulness. So, kids, I loved finding and creating rock collections, and I'm sure a lot of kids still could enjoy doing that. And you know, going out into nature, asking them to find really cool rocks that they can bring back to you. Um, you know, it's a fun way for them to like practice, like being able to uh, find these different things, paying attention to the different textures of things. So like activating their sense of touch, again, another sensory tool. Um, really urging them to pay attention to the aesthetic. So how the rock looks, and like, you know, don't ask them to taste it or anything. Kids might do some weird stuff like that. I don't recommend that piece. And then again, another nature piece is stop and notice what animals are in nature. They're always right under your nose, waiting to be noticed. So consider how it would be to move like these animals. So there's two different nature activities. One is like pebble meditation, and then it's just like awareness of animals, particularly. But walking through the park, if you really stop and notice, there's like obviously you've seen a bunch of squirrels. How often do you really stop and notice a squirrel? Frantically how frantically they move and jitter about, or how they crawl up the tree. What would it be like to move like a squirrel? Um, you see birds flying through that you never would have noticed, or even insects and small things like that. Like you want to really like urge them to bring their attention to all these different things that they could be picking up in nature, because there's a lot of moving elements out there that we're so often just ignorant to. And that's a powerful practice to bring anywhere. It's like what unnoticed things are all around me. And oftentimes if we're like trying to manifest what we want to try to get, you know, create a reality that we want to see, it's like we got to be present for that, and we miss opportunities that are right in front of us all the time. So how do I reach my kids? So let me move myself out the way. One, want to be honest with them about starting a meditative practice. So leading into two, this is not about tricking them into being like, go meditate, think about what you did. Do not use it as a punishment. Again, do not use it as a punishment, please, because it's not. And that can be really harmful to tell the kid to go be attentive with yourself as a punishment for what you did. It's like it's important to be reflective and like go think about what you did, but like not to be like making meditation or making that kind of isolation seem like it's punitive. Like it's really important that that is like something that's positive. So not tricking them into doing these certain things, but really being open and being like, hey, I want to try this new thing. And part of what's going to make that um, more helpful, or what's going to make that more successful, is three, showing them that you mean it by practicing with them, letting them see you incorporate mindfulness into your own life. And so um, leading into that last point, being open and using your own challenges as learning moments so that you can see, so your child can see how it helps you deal with your own life. So there's another practitioner I was researching from. She was talking about, she gave this example. She's on the line at the grocery store and just decided to tell her kid about an issue she was having with her boss. And it's like, I was about to shout at this person, and then I took a moment and I was like, let me breathe. I sat on that overnight, and then I replied the next day, and I didn't shout at them. And like, even though it's like a small thing, it's important for your kids to hear you going through those kind of challenges and seeing that you actually applied these things to your own life. So when, if they could see you practicing like just meditating and mindfulness, it'll spark their curiosity. Maybe it could seem weird and stuff at first, but they're gonna be curious because you're an important mentor, educator, or parent in their life, guardian, and it's like uh, kids are gonna naturally be interested in like what their elders are doing, and that's the opportunity to then share and talk about. "Ooh, I want to integrate these things in our lives." I've talked to some people who have had their parents integrate these into their lives and are grateful after the fact because they were blessed to have those kind of tools and have those kind of stress and emotional regulation tools. And so it can be really powerful, and don't shy away from like really having that conversation with your kid about it. Encourage liberation. So this is me coming back to that piece earlier um, about, so thinking about that scenario with my students at Truth to Power and at the elementary school, um, that rather than taking away things, being punitive and saying, now focus, it's about really allowing, really harnessing all the full creative energy that you have especially as a child. And so the point in meditation and in mindfulness is not to control the mind, not to box it in, but to liberate your mind, to allow it to really explore the complexity of everything that your mind can do. It's a wondrous place, and it's a wondrous thing that has so much power and potential. And so you don't want to control or limit that. You want to open up the possibilities for what the mind can provide. And the fear with that is that basically people, let's get back into this part. The point is not to allow yourself to be controlled by your mind and your emotions. And I think that's why people want to control the mind. They fear that the mind is running their lives. And the shift that you want to make is allow the mind to serve you. So if you're fully liberating, if you're not controlling the mind and just forcing it to sit at a desk and like, this is like literally what happens to kids, and then also what is happening to kids' minds when you're forcing a kid to sit at a desk and literally physically want to run all around, and that's because that's what their mind really wants to do at the moment too. And it's like, how can you help allow their mind to run freely while either in the course of your class? How can you incorporate places for them to really express themselves, and like really also just direct them to the next moment? Because also with like monkey mind that we were talking about earlier, the idea is to be gentle with monkey mind, not to force monkey mind to do these things. Is to be like, hey, I know that you want to like jump on that tree right now, monkey mind, but right now we need to walk down this path. And maybe we can jump on a tree or two later and be playful like that. Like, and you know, kids wanting to do those things will unlock and open that kind of creativity and imagination for yourself as well. So just like embrace that and really be in that kind of space with the kids that you're working with, or the kids that you have. So to recap, you want to use tools to build attention rather than using punishment to deter distraction. So um, help them focus, give them tools that are going to build their attention, and building a practice of attention, building a practice of building focus will be directly applicable in different fields. It's not like they're only focused like on playing, like, so let's say you allow your kid to just play video games and it's like that's the only thing they focus on. I can't get them to focus on anything else. It's like, all right, how do you use, so let's say my parents, for example, if you want to play a video game, you get to play, be focused on this for this amount of time and then do this. And um I don't want to tell parents how to like dole out privileges and stuff like that. So really you got to figure that out on your own. But the main idea of that is that you want to take these things that they're engaged with, and how do you integrate those tools into building their attention and saying and understanding that tool, that skill that they're building is something that you want to be applied to other areas of focus. So like, I want you to focus on your homework in the same ways that you focus on Fortnite. Zero in like that. Boom, hit that 2 + 3 = 5 out of the park. Second thing, build curiosity and learn to sit with your emotions, validate and reflect while showing composure. So as the adult, as the parent, you want to be curious about how your kid is feeling as well. You should be checking in. And you also want to, by you checking in and being curious like that, it's like, how are you feeling? Kids like, I'm feeling sad. And staying composed. This part is important, that like their sadness doesn't knock you off center. Their anger doesn't knock you off center. It's like, oh, you're sad. Oh, you're angry. Reflecting that, like, shout out Mediation Center, and really like check in with that. It's like, that's okay. You validate that emotion that exists. And it's like, and why? So like, why are you feeling sad? Like, and again, shout out Big Mick, open-ended questions right there. So you want to really learn to sit with emotions and understand their complexity and honor them. We're not moving away. And like, emotions are like the weather, where you know rain can be rain is neither good nor bad. It's like, it can be great for the farmer and it can be terrible for someone who's having like a block party and has all their electronic equipment outside. It's like, it's so you could be feeling sad and that's just a release and that's just an emotion, but if you acknowledge it and honor it, that too shall pass. And so that connects to this, but we're gonna come down to that in a second. Use your senses to ground yourself in the moment. So am I in my head or am I in my body? And so using the senses, my sense of touch, on the pebble meditation, how does that rock feel? Sense of sight, how does that rock look? Like, what is interesting about that rock? Describe it for me. How does that incense smell? Like, does it remind you of anything? Um, what sounds do you hear while you're meditating? Bringing that attention to sound, and like even mindful eating, like not just devouring your lunch, but like maybe sit down with your kid, be like, how does that taste? What does it taste like? Like really try to parse out, really understand. Eat one blueberry, eat one raisin at a time, and really, taste the pop of flavor. Like, have you ever really tasted these things? And so, not gonna rant too much on that, but like, are you in your head? Are you thinking? Are you in your conscious mind thinking about all these things that are going on, or are you connecting with your subconscious, understanding how you're feeling by being in your body? by checking in with your body, checking in with yourself. Next one, the breath is a tool. The breath is your tool. So use your breath to tell your body and mind how you want to feel. So again, connecting to that, am I in my head or am I in my body? That breath is a pathway for you to be able to access that and to then decide to how you want to recondition how you're feeling and the emotions in your body, how you want to regulate yourself. So your breath will tell you how you're feeling, and then you could also you have easy access to dictating how you want to breathe, and that will then reprogram your body and how you feel in accordance with that. Spending time in nature. I know there's a stay-at-home order, but they didn't say stay away from the trees and nature. Stay away from the people. Stay 6 feet away from them, and find time to just be in nature. Again, away from people, and just like, but really, there's just so much beauty. Like we can't be stuck in the house all day. We need that nice sun. We need to breathe in that fresh air. It's like we can't stay stuck up in the house. Problem with me, when me and my brother were kids, we'd always get in fights. Cabin fever is what they call it. Don't let your kids stay stuck up in the house too long. It's like it just gets tight in there, you know. So get outside the house sometimes. Model positive, mindful practices. You as the elder, the adult, they look to you for how to live life. And so if you model these behaviors that you also want to see in them, it's like if you really want to see these practices in them, you gotta practice what you preach. And so uh, I wanted to incorporate more mindfulness practices. I have to practice mindfulness more daily so that I could really understand the sensations in my body and how meditation is impacting me so that I can speak on these things, not just from a textbook or from any of these things, but I'm speaking from experience right now. That's what gives me the conviction and the understanding of the actual material I'm talking about. And so that will help you be able to really, one, get them on board with practicing it and also help you in explaining how these things can be helpful for them. Because I can explain to you, but they can watch this video as well, and but you still also always got to transfer that information into your own tool set. Last two, build positive attitude through gratitude. Bars. So focus on what we love to attract more of it, and teach our kids not to dwell on like the discomfort or the sadness. So we want to acknowledge and validate those emotions, and you know understand the root of those emotions, but we're not staying there because again, like past and future, that's not the present. That's a past moment. If we're talking about, we can talk about those emotions, process that, and then once if we stay there though, then we're not present. We're not moving back into this present moment. And so, to get us out of that negative past mindset, really bringing a positive attitude about what to expect for the future, and that can really quell a lot of that discomfort with what has happened already and make us more positive about what is to come, helping us be again more present here in this moment now if we're not stuck in the past and we have things to look forward to in the future. And by focusing on, and it's not even really about focusing on what positive can happen in the future, but what is positive about right now that I can be here for. Because if we're so depressed about the past, we're not. It's like, dang, I was broke and poor growing up, and I didn't have all these things, and but it's like right now I could be in a place where I'm surrounded by love and connected to people and community that I need, and I have the means that I need to survive. These are the things that are happening right now that I can be positive about. And I want more of that. I want more community. I want more love. I want all of that. So I'm going to focus on that instead of what I don't have. And the last thing, encourage creativity, encourage imagination, and encourage liberation. Because again, in that last slide, we just talked about we're not trying to control the mind. We're not trying to box ourselves in. We want to understand our minds. We want to understand ourselves so that we can fully live in our moment, in this moment, and be fully liberated. And I think that's like, at least for me, like we're not supposed to have a goal for meditation, but like that's what I'm working towards, is always ever more liberation. And so how do I unblock myself from myself? And so um want to allow our kids to be creative, express their imagination, find ways to incorporate that, the things that they already love to do, into these practices so that we can build that mindfulness, build that attention, build that ability to focus, and allow them to be free, allow them to allow their minds to run wild. And so this is um, this has been my presentation, Mindfulness with Kids. Again, my name is Lydell Hills, and this is my information. So you can follow me on social media on Instagram at Truth to Power 2020. This is my personal account if you'd like to see more so about just what I do in my life. Um, we're building the Facebook page at Truth to Power. It's just the name, and got some images and stuff up on there right now, and running donation. So right now we're building some funds. We've been working with Youth Empower Society, and we have some money earmarked to donate to them and build up their food pantry. So if you want to donate to support that, or just support your boy, then so I can like eat, then you can hit up either this Cash App or this Venmo. I'll transfer those funds over to, and you can mark on any of those donations if like you wanted to go to Youth Power Society specifically. That's cool, and I'll make sure that those funds go directly to that. And if you just want to support my livelihood, then like just say it's for my boy or whatever. It's for Lydell. Just mark like where you really want it to go, because I want to make sure that I'm spending funds in the ways that people want to see it happen. And so again, thank y'all for the time. Again, thank yourself for giving yourself this time, for giving yourself this knowledge. If you want to talk more about any of this mindfulness stuff, can tune in, hit me up on Truth to Power 2020 again. And yeah, and so I have like some contact information on that Instagram as well, but just for the sake of this, my office number, I'll drop it down in the YouTube link that I'll create after this. But um, my office number is 410-497-7299. And so it's Google Voice number, but it's active. And, I take any general kind of questions about the program through that number as well, if you don't use any of these social media platforms. And yeah, if there are any questions, feel free to reach out to me, and I've loved facilitating this. Allow your kids to be creative, build their imagination, liberate yourselves. Love you guys.